Today I want to show you how to properly deadlift. I hope this is a blessing for you. Now, many people try deadlifting and they have all kinds of strange ways of doing it. Many times they don't get injured simply because they're doing light weight. But as you start going up in the weight and lift heavier and heavier, you stand a larger chance of getting yourself injured because of improper form. I want to show you how to do proper form on the deadlift. It is a very easy exercise. Once you master the form, you will be able to do it very easily and safely. It is not a dangerous exercise. People say, I can't squat, I can't deadlift, it's dangerous, I hurt my back one time. The only reason they hurt their back and they think it's dangerous is because they didn't do it properly. If done properly, you're not going to hurt yourself under normal situations. If you're doing enough weight for you that's not way over what you should be doing, don't try to impress people in the gym. Go in there for good health and to exercise properly, not to try to lift a bunch of weight that you have no business trying to lift. Now here I approach the deadlift and I set up my feet about shoulder width apart. You can do a little more narrow than that. It just depends on what works for you. My hands are shoulder width apart, a little wider than shoulder width apart, and I'm not scraping the bar on my knees, but I'm pretty close. Now when I initially pull the bar, I keep the bar a few inches from my shins. Many people put it right along their shins, and for some of you, depending on how you're built, it's going to be a little more difficult that way. You may have an easier time having it a little farther away from your shins. One of the main things to notice that I'm doing is my arms are completely straight. I'm not bending the elbow, because you bend the elbow, you start pulling it and using your bicep to pull the weight up. And on heavy weight, you stand a chance on ripping your bicep that way and getting seriously injured. So keep your arms fully extended, locked, and do not bend your elbows any when you're pulling the weight up. Also notice my back. My back is completely flat. My shoulders are not hunched over. I don't have a bent upper back where I'm trying to basically roll the weight up. I'm using my hips and my legs and bringing the weight up. My arms are simply used to hold the weight, not to lift. I'm not pulling with my arms. I'm not curling this weight. And you notice when I come up, you see proper form. And I do this over and over. And an easy way to keep proper form too, especially when you're first starting, I use very light weight in this example just to show you, but when you go down, reset. Don't just slam the weight down and kind of bounce back up off the ground with the weight. Pause for a second, just enough to kind of reset and start again. And that will help you to keep proper form, maintain proper form. If you start trying to go too fast, you can start hunching your back and bending over to pull the weight up instead of deadlifting the weight. And you'll find you can get yourself injured that way. It's a very simple exercise, a very safe exercise if you will follow the simple instructions. Keep your back straight. Don't bend and hunch over. Another safety issue is do not start bending your knees and trying to lock out until you get the weight above your knees. Otherwise, you can severely blow out your knees. So be careful with that as well. It's a very safe exercise. Start with very light weight if you haven't done it before. Maybe even the bar if that's all you can do. You might have to prop the bar up a little higher to keep from having to bend over too much. But start light. You don't have to impress anybody, and do it safely and go up on the weight as you can, and you'll find you'll improve greatly. And it's a great overall strength exercise, and it'll help you in a lot of other lifts as well. Some things to note also: when you fully have lifted the weight and you are ready to start going back down, you should have basically come to attention, like you're standing at attention, and your legs are straight. Now many people try to hyperextend and go back, and you don't need to be doing that. That is not good for your back, especially when you start getting to heavier weights. You do not need to be hyperextending. Just lock out, be completely straight, and then you can go back down with the weight. And also, you can have your toes straight or you can turn them outward a little bit. It's really a matter of personal preference. I turn mine out a little bit. Some people feel better having them straight. That is completely a matter of preference, and a lot of times about how your muscles are attached. So there's no exact way of doing that. Try different ways, see what works best for you, and make sure you don't have too wide of a stance for the regular deadlift, because then you have to move your arms out further to clear your knees, and you will have some issues there. Also, on the grip, on lightweight, you can just go overhand grip, a double overhand grip. Both hands are overhand. But when it starts getting too heavy, then you'll need to have one underhand, one overhand to have a proper grip on it and to be able to continue to lift. And at some point, if your grip is not strong enough, you may need to use straps. A lot of people don't like using straps, but if the alternative is to not lift heavier weight because your grip cannot hold the weight, even though your body could physically lift the weight, then use some straps. Don't let your pride get in the way of doing heavy lifts and doing them properly and increasing your weight, increasing your strength and your exercise. So it's productive for you, not just standing in place and doing the same thing over and over. I pray this has been a blessing for you. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to ask me. God bless you richly.